Ya la la la, la 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 la.
Have you ever wondered what the ancient temple which stood in Jerusalem looked like? Or what the city of Jerusalem looked like in the Second Temple period, during the time of Jesus? Some people who visit Israel today think that ancient Jerusalem looks like the old city of Jerusalem today, with the walls that really are from the 16th century, the Turkish period.
Jerusalem.
The city of Jerusalem has its own very, very special history, and we can learn about it by archaeological research, and we can learn about it through models. A recreation of what Jewish life was like. We're able to simulate, through computer simulation, what the city of Jerusalem was like in that glorious period of the Second Temple. There were two ways in which Jews would come into the temple area. One was through Robinson's Arch. And it was a major arch that led people from the ground level all the way up into the southeastern portion of the temple. Behind me is the remnant of the Robinson's Arch. It is called that after the man, Robinson, who discovered it. And people would walk up those steps and bring their sacrifices and go to the temple. Below this arch were stores, essentially, where people who were coming from abroad would exchange their money, would buy the appropriate animals for their sacrifices, or doves or birds for their sacrifices, and they would buy those things below the arch in this supermarket. And we of course find this concept of exchanging money in the New Testament, where Jesus very angrily turns the tables on those who were exchanging money in the temple area. He was probably alluding not to the people who were exchanging money down below on the streets, but those who were exchanging money on the inside. If you can look carefully, behind me you can see on the southern wall the remnants, really, of the Hulda Gate. These gates were especially for pilgrims who came during the three festivals of Passover, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot, Tabernacles, and Pentecost. Now these have been boarded up with stones, but you can still see the pattern of these gates. And every day, Jews would come up, and non-Jews would walk up in order to bring their sacrifices in the temple, to enter into the temple area and pray and be right with God. On the southwestern portion were the other two Hulda gates. Those people who were mourners or who were impure would go through those gates and enter the temple area there. Of course, on the other side is Mount of Olives. And according to Jewish tradition, the Messiah will come from the Mount of Olives, on which now there are graves. Jews deliberately sought to be buried on the Mount of Olives so that they can be the first ones to be resurrected when the Messiah comes. The Messiah, if you will, has his own private entrance, and that is through the eastern portion of the city onto the temple area. And so, if you can imagine the excitement and the joy and the feeling of spiritual uplifting that people had when they came here to this area, this feeling of holiness, and that is what we seek to achieve in our own lives. Today we don't have the temple. We await the coming of Messiah for the temple to be reconstructed. But we do have our hearts, and we can bring God into our hearts. And that's what the temple worship was all about.